Having categories like achievement and perseverance and tolerance and imagination and so forth. And that music that you're hearing, the doors would be open and it accompanies you through that experience. So we'll just let it play out here. I like it.
It's a great score. The music in this show, all of it is really amazing and powerful.
So you won't have to get out of your seats. Well, the doors will be open, but you'll be free to sit here and listen or experience the exit area until this point in time when you will have to leave your seats. Like our actor there had a little, opening day jitters.
I don't blame him.
He's still got 24 hours to go.
That's right. He's seeing his audience for the first time in decades. So, yes, as Tony said earlier, the reason you see all these consoles still in the theater is we are still putting the finishing touches on the programming and the final tweaking. You don't really know how everything. Just a little bit about our process. We spent months. Programming the animation, doing the animation back at Imagineering. But you don't really get a full sense of how, this is true for a live actor as well. Any actor just doesn't really hone their final performance until they're in the space and they kind of feel the room. So our animators bring that same sense of performance to audio animatronics by making all those final tweaks and adjustments once they're in the space. And we're not completely done with that, which is why you see the consoles.
Well, and then there's this term called integration animation, which these guys, the reason there's 5 or 6 consoles, there's lighting, there is audio, there is animation, and then there are all the little tricky things like what you saw at the end there. And you'll sit here and you watch it and you go, well, that doesn't quite feel the right place, so then it has to be slid forward or backwards. And that
a 30th or a 60th of a second.
Right, exactly.
That's just the level that we're tweaking
still. Right, so that's what you saw today and will be even closer tomorrow. Are there, anybody have any questions now that the show is, you've seen the show?
I noticed you had a little different read on the Royal Dano voiceover.
Absolutely.
And I've been hearing, since the attraction first opened. Did he do several versions of that?
Yes. Maybe you had missed where I was talking in the lobby area that what we found was the take that was in here for all those years was done with a boom mic on a film studio where they actually photographed Royal. I wish we could have found that footage. We couldn't. But it was done in sort of a second tier quality level. And that's why the performance was, shall we say, limited in frequency, so that any of the subtleties that you heard today where you could clearly hear him breathing, you could hear him, licking his lips, getting ready to start the next phrase, all of that was lost. So what we were able to do was take the takes that were done in the soundstage, and there were numerous versions of it, and move the words to match where the words were delivered in the version that you've heard, but now in a clarity that is way, way, way beyond what we would have been able to do. Now, you probably noticed that in the last show that was here with Lincoln, we did not use the voices of Royal Dano and Paul Frees. The reason for that was the quality level at that time with those original recordings wasn't good enough to really play back for an audience that's been born into 7.1 DTS and all of that. But I think you'll agree that the clarity on what we found in these other takes is just extraordinary, and we were able to make it work.
Well, it was less about finding the quality and more about having the technology now to clean it up.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, I remember hearing the noise gate off the hiss at the end of every phrase.
Right, in the show that was, I think this is about our 5th rendition of the show, and I remember that too, that, clipping around each of his words, they tried to take out the hiss, so everything would be accompanied with these sort of shh. But these other tracks are just extraordinarily clean, and then we got the added value of all the human frailties in the way that his speech pattern was. Yes.
For the technical geeks among our readers, What delivery system is being used for the pre-show at this time?
Who is in here that's technical for that one?
Do you mean for the show in here?
No, the pre-show, what is it? Film, video, what projection?
Oh, what, you mean in this show or out in the, we refer to
this
the,
show.
okay, this is the main show, we refer to that one, which you didn't see today as a
The film
pre-show.
portion of the main
It's
show.
digital projection.
Yeah, it's digital projection. And, you know, that gave us, if you recall any of the previous shows, the binaural show did have digital projection, but none of the shows that had the slides that Walt Disney created, they were all delivered as slides. And we were able to bring the Civil War to life. And there's a little, again, we're always trying some new things. So there's a beginning application of what we call the sandbox technology. I won't even go into that, but if you notice during the Civil War, we were able to amplify the explosions and so forth with lighting effects that were carried on the frame of the picture itself. And that's something we'll be playing with a lot more in the future because it's got limitless, as you said, possibilities.
It gives us a great additional, subtle, but a great storytelling tool. So I was saying out there, it's really all about finding the right tools to tell the story we want to tell.
Like I said, I maybe didn't clarify that, but you know, as soon as the eagle soars over that door, those doors will open, and we have very nice corridor experience there that sort of is the spirits of America. And we didn't talk too much about the sculptures that Blaine Gibson did that are in the cabinet. They were created to signify the kind of spirits that guided the formation of America. So we sort of start with that, then go through Lincoln's kind of quintessential moment at the crossroads of our country. And then the challenge with America, Keep on Dreaming, is, you know, it's up to all of us, you know, to continue this dream. And our hope for this gallery is we'll continue to add people to this. It's just a representation right now of broad spectrums, and there are constantly people that amaze and achieve great things in this country. And so as time goes on, we'll celebrate additions to this area of the show too.
Yep, my heart goes out to Blaine, knowing that he tried to sculpt this classic American figure, you know, historic representation of this man that people feel like they know. I mean, they know what he looks like. You've seen the Lincoln Memorial. We've all had pennies and $5 bills. We kind of know what he looks like. To sculpt a version of him that worked as an audio animatronic in the early 60s was quite a feat because the limitations of how to represent a realistically shaped human head at the time were difficult to get the mechanism in there. With this, as I mentioned before, with this new Lincoln, we actually resculpted the head to start with the storytelling, the creative intent. In this case, the technology fits inside our creative intent. So we actually started with a sculptor who I see lurking about in the back of the theater right now, who sculpted a brand new head, including all of Lincoln's asymmetry. Lincoln was not the most symmetrical man. None of us are symmetrical.
Actually kicked in the head by a horse
Yes,
when he was
was.
young, you know, like 12 years old or so.
So his, you know, one eye slightly droops below another one. His face is not symmetrical, and I think for the first time we've been able to kind of capture those subtleties that Lee Romero, our sculptor, was able to capture those subtleties, and then Phil Jackson, who made the skin systems, was able to kind of make all that musculature and all that stuff kind of react appropriately to bring that sense of humanity.
We kept a tug of war going on Lee because we knew it had to be accurate. At the same time, it had to be very appealing. So I think he created a Lincoln that really looks good, as well as being, you know, representative of the certain characteristics that made him irregular in the face. But he really looks good.
Especially representing him at this time in his life, and he was under such stress and kind of just all the weight of a nation on his shoulders. Any other questions? Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you very
seeing
much.
the special sneak peek preview.
Yeah, and okay, good.